good. Hey, listen, it is Mark here. I am so happy that you are joining us on this Friday. We are right in the middle of March Madness. Things are clicking. We got games going on right now that we've all been watching. My bracket's already busted from yesterday. I blame you, Clemson. But listen, DG is on vacation. He's enjoying the beach. So I get to fill in and sit in this host chair. Kind of nice. It feels kind of good. But this is not a one-man show. This is a group effort. And on the weekend wagers, we got to have a 12-pack of picks. So we invited a very special guest from Sleepers Media. This guy knows college basketball inside and out. We are so excited, especially on a day like today, to have him here and kind of walk us through the rest of the tournament. So with that, let's bring in the rest of the guys. Robby, I'm going to start with you. How are you doing? What's going on?
I'm great, man. I'm not too upset. My bracket's still intact. I took McNeese yesterday straight up, so I'm pretty happy with my bracket right now.
Good for you. Good for you. And our special guest, the man from Sleepers Media, the college basketball backbone, Dion. What's good? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. You're the first person to ever say that I know college basketball inside and out. So I'm gonna take that one to the bank. JK, clip that for me, please. No, but I'm feeling good. My bracket, I did have Clemson going to the Sweet 16, I'll be honest. But McNeese plus 6.5 was the easiest play of the day. That was one of those weird spots where it's like in your bracket, you want to go one way as a gambler. You're like the values on McNeese with the points. So
nice.
Overall, feeling pretty good about the way the tourney looks. I know Robby's got to be happy. I see that alligator alley behind
you. Yeah. Welcome to the Chomp Chomp. And before we jump into this weekend's picks, we do need to look back. And, with it being St. Patrick's Day, I kind of like the look of this slide right now because I didn't see that much green except for on March 17th. We've had back-to-back really good weekends. So I am excited about this weekend's picks. Rob, how you feeling?
Feeling good, man. There's only one hockey game tonight, which isn't too bad, actually, because I'm enjoying watching some March Madness. Didn't have to cap a lot of games today for the NHL slate. Feeling good about the weekend because there's actually a lot of good games that you can look forward to this weekend as well.
Fantastic. So speaking of this weekend, let's jump right into it. Dion, we don't have any picks from you. So, Rob, I'm going to go with you for Friday. What do you got?
Yeah, perfect. So we do have the one hockey game. It is Columbus traveling to Pittsburgh. We're going to go Sidney Crosby, 1+ assist. He has 8 assists in his last 10 games overall. And in his last 14 games versus Columbus, he has 17 assists in that span. And he's currently on a 4-game assist streak against Columbus. His point prop by itself is just too juiced, but it is great for like some parlay pieces if you want to pair him with a couple of guys. But I love Sidney tonight to get an assist. Columbus, we're going to go Adam Fantilli, 1+ point at -120. Look, man, Adam has been on this cold streak, but Columbus overall have been on a cold streak as of late. In their last 4 games, they have scored 1 goal. That's it. 1 goal. And even still with just 1 goal, they're still competitive. They lost last night 1-0. They had a goal called back. Boone Jenner scored, but they called it back. So they're competitive. They just can't put the puck in the net. So I'm banking on tonight that offense gets going. Fantilli's still filling in for Sean Monahan, which is also skating now, so he should be back soon as well. Tonight, they've got to get it going because they were in a top spot for that wild card position, and now they're about 3 or 4 games out. They really got to turn it up on these last few games of the season.
Fantastic. Dion, I know you are in addition to your college basketball expertise, you've decided to start delving into the NHL as of late. So what do you think of Rob's plays?
I like him. So I'm 2-3 betting NHL. Would have been 2-4. Mark, I love the Avalanche play the other night. Did they end up winning that game?
They did. Yeah.
They did? Okay, so I would have been 3-3. That's tough. That's the story of me as a gambler, by the way. Would have made a bet, thought I was going to lose. Turns out it won. Shout out Max. Agreed. I do know nothing. Shout out Max for that one. But no, seriously, like that. I like your plays. I like the team total over 1.5. That's
excellent. So here's what I've got for Friday. We are jumping in. It's going to go with the ice as well. And to kind of tail what Rob had said, the Blue Jackets have been awful lately as far as scoring. They've been shut out in 3 of the last 4 games. They just cannot find any goal production whatsoever. Their offense is anemic at best. So I'm going to take the Blue Jackets team total under 3 at -115. I just think this is a great spot to target a team that is struggling so bad as Columbus is right now. I am also on Mike Connolly over 11.5 points in this -125. Look, the Celtics are playing, and he is doing a fantastic job at maximizing his efficiency while he's on the court. I love this spot. He's cleared this line in 10 of his last 10 home games where he's averaging 16.7. I think it's a great spot to target him. And then I am going with a model play today. I am taking UNC. You're going to want to get this in early because this game starts in just about 50 minutes. So North Carolina and Ole Miss, we're going to take the over 155.5. The model has this one projected all the way up to 163. I think UNC comes into this game looking for a little bit of redemption, so to speak. And Dion, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this because they were they were a play-in game to get to this spot. How do you think that they're going to respond? Because I see them keeping up with both of these teams have an adjusted rate tempo well above national average. So I see this one soaring to the over. But what are your thoughts on UNC?
So I love Ole Miss in this game. Ole Miss is like plus 105. I love Ole Miss in this game. I think Sean Padula is going to wind up being the best player on the court. I would look to take some of his overs. I do love the over within this game, though. So Ole Miss and UNC play very fast. UNC typically runs 3 and 4 guard lineups. They've been playing a lot of Drake Powell and going smaller and trying to get up and down the court. Chris Beard teams love to run. Ole Miss has 3 guards that can fill it up as well. 155 is low. I've been so focused on Ole Miss money line. I didn't even realize that total. I thought the total would be closer to the Alabama one at the 166.5. So I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I love this play. And yes, Dan, thank you so much. Please smash that like button for us. It just helps us grow. We really do appreciate that. Let's see. Where do we want to go next? We are looking at, real quick. I just thought of this too. The weekend wagers. We love our Sleepers Saloon. So if you're in the chat, you're watching us, we got great numbers watching us live. Put in your pick, your parlay piece, whatever it is that has plus 1,000 odds or better. Join us in the Saloon. Make sure you get that in the chat so that if it hits, we can get you included on the graphic. But let's jump to Saturday. And Dion, you didn't have anything for Friday. You have 4 plays for Saturday. Why don't you start with your first 2? Let's go with those.
Yeah, so I love the Saturday plays. Friday to me is kind of like just survive in advance. So the first one we got is Auburn minus 9.5. The Auburn's performance on Thursday was very lackluster. I think Vegas has kind of swung the lines a little bit too far on this one. Auburn is going up against Creighton, who looked phenomenal. The problem here for me is Auburn's guards are going to frustrate Stephen Ashworth very much so. They also have the bigs to hang with Kalkbrenner. They could throw numerous bodies at him. I think Auburn's going to get up and down the court and run. I'm not saying Creighton isn't a great team. They looked phenomenal on Thursday. They've had a great season. If you're giving me Auburn in a single-digit spot anywhere before the Elite 8, I'm taking it every time, and I love minus 9.5 at this one.
Excellent. Rob, you've got 3 plays. In my 2 plays for tomorrow or Saturday kind of mirror Dion's in different ways. But what are your 3 plays?
Yeah, well, as you know, trying to cap hockey on a Saturday, on a Friday, for instance, is hard to do. So I'm just going to go with what has been cashing for me all year, and that's Ovi, 1+ goal. This is a guess, but it should be around plus 115, plus 125. I think they're going to give Florida a little bit of grace, so that they may raise those odds up a little bit. So I'm putting plus 125. Either way, it'll be a plus money goal prop. And since they're playing at home, I'm going to take his plus 650 to get that line change. And if Washington is up by like 1 goal 3 minutes ago, Florida probably pull the goalie. So look for him to get that last goal. We cashed that last week at plus 650. It's been around plus 650 to plus 950. So it may even be better odds tomorrow. Like I said, they're going to give Florida some grace because Bobrovsky is going to be in net. And then my other play on Saturday is Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. And that's 1+ point. So you need both of them to get a point. Now I'm guessing here as well, but it's at plus 130. They're playing the Blackhawks. Kyrou has 5 goals in his last 3 games versus Chicago. He has 9 points in his last 4 games overall, and he's currently riding a 4-game point streak. Thomas has 3 goals in his last 3 games versus Chicago, and he has 5 assists in those last 5 games and a point in his last 4 of his last 5 overall. Look, St. Louis is making a run. They were terrible prior to the Four Nations. But since the Four Nations, they've been coming out swinging, and I really like their chances to get into the playoffs, but they're also playing Chicago. Chicago has no defense in front of Spencer Knight, who has been good since he's been there. He just doesn't have any help in front of him. St. Louis is firing on all cylinders, so take a lot of the Blues. I'll probably be taking quite a few more as tomorrow comes up.
Fantastic. I've got 2 plays that kind of Dion and I are on the same page as far as Saturday is concerned, which for me is always a great thing because to have somebody who is so knowledgeable in that college basketball world is perfect for me. I'm going to take Zags in Houston under 140.5 at -120. Look, I just think that Houston is going to suffocate and slow this pace down. They are one of the slowest paced teams in the nation, and they win their games because they limit the opposition's second chance shots. I love this spot for an under to hit. I think Houston wins this game, but I think the Zags keep it close in a very low scoring game. I'm also on the over for Creighton and Auburn. Creighton will get out and run with the best of them. Kilkenny is a beast in the middle. I think Auburn is going to struggle. So it's I don't necessarily agree with that Auburn -9.5, but I do think that we see a lot of points in this one. I think we have 2 teams that are not afraid to run the ball up and down.
I was actually going to tell you. So my first 2 picks, I think my first 2 picks on the sheet, I love even more based upon your picks. If Creighton and Auburn goes over, I think that means that Auburn went ahead and won that game by a lot. Because the more they run, I think the more likelihood you see Auburn separate from Creighton. So I think if that one goes over, that plays into my hand. And then Gonzaga, Houston, if that one goes under, that definitely plays into Houston's hand. For Gonzaga to keep that game close within that 5.5 points, they're going to have to score 70, 80 points.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of 2 points on Saturday, or 2 plays on Saturday, what are your other 2 plays that you got?
I got Tennessee -4.5. There's a theme with all my plays. I think Vegas is overreacting to some very great first-round performances. Not many first-round performances were better than UCLA's performance on Thursday. However, I think Tennessee's a much better team. Tennessee kind of plays the same style UCLA and Mick Cronin want to play. I think Tennessee gets to them by at least 5 points. But honestly, I think that game's going to get closer to double digits. I'm a big alternate spread guy. I'd look into that. BYU, Wisconsin, I don't understand this line. I have BYU go into the Elite 8. I think they're going to cause Duke fits. Not many teams are playing better basketball at this very moment than BYU. Wisconsin just played 4 straight games last week in the Big Ten tournament. I want to say this game is in the altitude as well, playing on Thursday. I think some tired legs are going to be there from Wisconsin. BYU keeps it close, runs away late.
Excellent. And, there was some news that came out today about UConn, and we don't have any picks or plays on UConn for this weekend. So I find this to be very interesting that Hurley came out and said that, 50% of the players on his roster are either, I forget the wording on it, but basically they're either going into the portal or they've already committed to teams, once the tournament run for them is over. Dion, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this as far as this sort of evacuation, if you will, from UConn?
So he's when he said this, G and I did a short on this on the channel too that people should check out. But basically what he's saying is that either 50% of his roster is either planning to go into the portal or already knows where they're going. Now, what's interesting about this is, in my opinion, UConn is bringing in the best recruiting class in the country. What's also interesting is Dan Hurley can get whoever he wants. How many of these guys is Hurley saying, hey, you should probably go to the portal, right? Like, how much of this is the individual players that are like, I'm going to the portal, and how much is he doing the Deion Sanders, like, I'm bringing my luggage next year and it's loaded. So either you can stick around and you'll be the 10th man on the team, but your role will look different. Nonetheless, like, I think the transparency between the group. So we kind of saw this with Will Wade at McNeese yesterday, where he's like, I've been honest that I'm going Power 5 after this year if I have the opportunity, to everybody. And my players know that. So I think some of the transparency within it will keep everybody focused. It's not what you want. obviously, because it's an added distraction. But I think Hurley's handling it well. And honestly, if you're a UConn fan, like I don't think the guys he's talking about are people that you're too concerned about.
Gotcha. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I lean the same with Dion on this one. I think he's just cutting the weight to make room for the new guys coming in. Also, speaking of McNeese State, the reason why I hammered the money line is their manager. The manager coming out with the boombox, man, that is amazing. And he's got an NIL deal. Like all these guys that can't cut it in college sports, right there you go. Be creative, be somebody that can get the team hyped up. You could be an equipment manager and make an NIL deal. I love that guy. I love that story.
That is fantastic. What a great angle that you're handicapping all the way down to the equipment managers. I mean, that's a deep dive, my friend. That's a very deep dive.
Shout out to Beer Con, Buffalo Wild Wings NIL deal, by the way.
Great job. So look, we have come to that time of the show where I sadly have to say I'm not a member of this club. And we are talking about the Sleeper Saloon. Dion, what do you think of our little intro there?
I love it. That's the first time I've seen that like live while recording. I love that. It hits a lot different when you're in the room than it does on the channel. I love that.
Great. So look, Robby is our only panelist that has garnered entry into the saloon. Myself and DG were still on the outside looking in, waiting to get in. I love my shot this weekend. So the way that this works is real simple. We put together a parlay piece. It can span over Friday and Saturday. There's no real rules on that. The only real rule is that it has to be plus 1,000 or better. So Dion, you are our featured guest. And, look, despite what DG says, I know he's on vacation. All right. So
he's had one too many Shirley Temples.
Yeah, I think our guy has spent a little too much time in the sun. Dion, with that, why don't you give us your plays on the Madness Parlay? What do we got?
So the first three plays are from Friday. So if you're watching this, you're going to want to get it in quickly. Maryland minus 10.5. I can't quit Maryland. This is my favorite team in the country. The Crab Five. There's the rumors that Kevin Willard leaving. I don't care. I love this team. I don't want to bet against them. Derek Queen, in my opinion, is one of the best players in college basketball. I've been comparing him to Jokic lately. I love that play. Marquette 3.5 against New Mexico. This is probably the one in the grouping that I'm the most nervous about. I like this play because the number is so small, but I do think New Mexico keeps this one close, and you're probably going to be looking for some free throws at the end. Illinois minus 4.5. I love this Illinois team. They can score. I think Illinois is going to make a run in this tournament, potentially to the Elite Eight, maybe at least the Sweet 16, though. So I think this is a pretty low number. And then the final one is Liberty plus 6.5. I like this money line. So Liberty is one of the best shooting teams in the country. They can score the basketball. Oregon's going to have to get to 80 to win this game, even if Liberty plays bad. They have three dudes that shoot the ball over 41% from three. They bring a guy off the bench that averages 14, shooting 42% from three. That team can fill it up. I love that play individually. I love it money line. I'm going to give everybody the Dion play of the day that I kept out of all this. Arizona minus 14.5 against Akron. That's my favorite play of the tournament. Akron doesn't have a player over 6'7". Carter Bryant, who's on Arizona, he's a wing. He's 6'8" in his own right. Arizona gets up and down the court and runs. So going small and outrunning them, that's exactly what they want to do. They're going to beat you up. If it's a race, they're going to beat you up if it's slow. I love that play.
Okay. First of all, to my point, the college basketball expert, okay? Who's breaking down an Akron, Arizona game like that? Second of all, Dion, love the Saloon play. We got to work something in that if you get into the Saloon before DG or I, that there has to be some sort of, there's got to be something attached to that.
If it's just me and Robby, we should get jackets.
Hey, I'm down.
Well, I
am
think
down.
we got Joe's also in the saloon, so we got to get Joe a
You
jacket.
gotta get Joe a jacket, and if they get in, they can buy a jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a members only jacket, like from the 70s.
Yeah.
All right, Robby, what do we got for your saloon parlay?
Yeah, going to stick it to the ice again. Crosby 2 points is at plus 210. All of these plays in my saloon picks you can actually play on their own. They're pretty good odds. So I got Sidney Crosby 2+ points at plus 210. He's got 9 multi-point games in his last 14 versus Columbus. I've got Evgeny Malkin for a point minus 104. He has 16 points in his last 13 versus Columbus. And again, I got Adam Fantilli 3 shots on goal. You can get that at plus 112. He's kind of like a roller coaster with his shots as far as hitting this. He'll hit, he'll miss, he'll hit, he'll miss. Well, he missed last night, so he should hit tonight. And then we got Ricard Raquel, 1+ point, little juicy of the group. It's minus 148, but he has hit in 7 of his last 9 versus Columbus and in 7 of his last 10 overall. And you can get this at plus 1,200 range. I gave it to Mark earlier today. It was right at plus 1,000. I mean, on the dot on DraftKings, but I found it elsewhere. You can get plus 1,200 odds elsewhere.
Excellent. So let's go to with my picks in the WTF parlay. I don't know why DG has labeled these as the WTF, but I totally get it after looking at my mishmash of players and plays that I like here. I'm taking the North Carolina Tar Heels team total over 76.5. I just love this spot for the Tar Heels. I think they get up into the 80s in this one. I'm also going to go with Illinois' senior guard, Kylan Boswell, over 12.5 points. He's cleared this line in 6 of his last 7. I love this spot for him as Illinois is taking on Xavier. I see a lot of points in this game. So does the model, which is all that means when I say I see a lot of points. I'm going to take the Blue Jackets first period under 1 goal. I don't think they score again. Listen, they haven't scored in 3 of their last 4 games. And I'm talking about the entire game. I don't see him scoring in the first period in this one. And I'm also going to lastly add Drew Holiday over 12.5 points. Put those together, we're going to get 1,224. My entry ticket into the saloon or the members only jacket, whatever that happens. So that's our saloon picks. Let's see. Do we have anything here from a saloon? No, we don't have anything from the chat from a saloon pick. So that's fine there. Dion, the way that we always end our show is we like a little weekend vibes. They can be good vibes. They can be bad vibes. Something that you're looking at this weekend where you kind of say, hey, yeah, this is my.
It can be sports. It can be anything. It doesn't even have to just be sports.
Across the board.
So it can be any pick that I like this weekend.
Not even a pick. Just if there's a person, if there's something that you're like, hey, this is a really good thing right now, or this is a really awful thing.
Okay. I would just
say, I'll tell you what. We'll let Rob go first. Give you a chance because I know we just put you on the spot. Too. Let's let Rob go first. Rob, what do you got for your weekend vibes?
A full slate of a weekend vibes is what I have. Tonight, I'm going to coach soccer, and then I'm going to go home and watch Florida beat up on Norfolk. Here's your nugget. The last time we played Norfolk in the NCAA tournament, we beat them 84-50. Our spread tonight is 29. So if you want to do that, go for it. I'm just going to watch and enjoy my Gators taking care of business. Saturday, I have to coach 2 soccer games, get a kid to karate. Then I got 2 additional kids coming to my house for the weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be a bourbon-filled Sunday night when everything finally goes away and I can just sit down and enjoy life. But, yeah, busy weekend. I'm going to watch a lot of sports, maybe, as long as I can keep kids from breaking my house. But other than that, yeah, looking real forward to this weekend.
Fantastic. And, Dan, congratulations. Shout out. So happy you landed the new job. And, yeah,
sweet, man.
On the up and coming. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a
Heck
great weekend vibe. My weekend vibe is I would like to thank the North Carolina Sheriff's Deputy that stopped me on Highway 17 and handed me some papers for my alleged driving habits that may not have been in line with the current state of North Carolina laws. At any rate, I appreciate it. And I can't tell you how many conversations that has sparked between my wife and I about how I need to start addressing my driving. So I want to thank you for opening up that channel for me. That has been phenomenal. Not only are you a law enforcement professional, and I appreciate you, I have nothing but love and respect for the law enforcement community. But honestly, you're opening up lines of communication, and you can't put a price tag on that. So thank you very much. I thought I was being a little, I thought it was embarrassing to be pulled over on the side of the road with all the flashing lights and all that. Turns out, no, you've opened the doors to so many conversations. So thank you. Those are my.
Are you going to show this in court to plead your case to the judge?
You know what? If it'll knock that,
clip it.
Yeah, if it'll knock that ticket down, you're damn right. I'm sending this video.
All right. So he's a good driver, Judge. I promise. This is one of those very rare instances. He's a good driver.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. Yeah. Dion, what do we got?
Just my weekend vibe is just appreciation. I mean, the way Mark's appreciative of conversations being opened up, Robbie's appreciating his future bourbon, because we won't have it during the kids' soccer game. I want to get ahead of that. It's going to be afterwards. Appreciate this weekend. Best weekend in sports, especially, whether you're a degenerate gambler or not. This is the best weekend in sports. There's sports on round the clock. If you're on the West Coast like myself, we're talking like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Like, how much better could it be? If you're on the East Coast, that's noon to midnight. That's phenomenal too. Just appreciate what we're going to get, because it's another year before we get to have it again.
Absolutely. And Dion, I know I'm speaking for Robbie here. I'm sure that I'm not going to misspeak for him. Just want to thank you so much for filling in for DG. We love what we do here. We love our partnership with Sleepers Media. So thank you so much for joining us and imparting your expertise, if you will, your knowledge on the college basketball scenario. Love that. And for everybody, I'm sorry, we just got this last one, cutting the grass on Sunday. There you go. God bless you. If you got the weather to do that, amen. I agree.
Won't be long. It won't be long.
Won't be long.
No.
So with that, I want to thank all of you for joining us, hanging out with us for this last 30 minutes. Can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Smash that like button if you would be so kind to do that for us. But until next week, my name is Mark. For Rob, for Dion, for DG, who's on vacation, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.